All right. In three, two. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Creative Talk podcast with me, Jan Santos. And today we have a very, very special guest. Very beautiful, guys. Very beautiful. Our special guest is a certified relationship and life coach, author and content creator. Guys, with 700,000 plus, it keeps growing TikTok followers, not to mention Instagram and other social media platform. Amazing, very humble, very lovely. Now, the name is a challenge, okay? So I'm gonna try my best. I was buying time. I was buying time and reviewing how to pronounce the name, but damn it. All right. Okay. Our special guest. Let's all welcome Angelika Koch. Koch. Is it right?
It's like hacking a woogie. Koch.
uh, is it Angelika or Angelika? I love Angelika.
So my mother's a German immigrant, so it's technically Angelika. And after my grandmother passed away from cancer, I decided to honor her. I would just continue with the German way of saying it because that's originally what my mother named me. So it's Angelika. But if you would like to call me Angelika, you can. If that's easier for you, that's perfectly okay. That's just, I personally use the German way.
I love Angelica. So let's go. Let's go. Well, Angelica, I said this off cam and I'm gonna say it again. Thank you so much for you to be in the show. It is a blessing. I know you're a very busy person, time difference. Thank you. Thank you for saying yes and thank you for being with us here in the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's my honor.
Yay. So, Angelica, I'm excited. Our listeners and viewers are excited to know who or what influenced you to be in this position of greatness. Because, I said that because you are really making connection and changing people's lives. You're making an impact in the content that you do, your message, your heart. I'm a fan, but more than that, I believe in the message that you share, the values, the tips that you give in your content, in your coaching program. So we are excited to know your story. The floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you. So I inspired myself to be in this position. I know that sounds a little off, but here's what happened. When I was younger, I felt like I had no one. I felt like I had no one to
Oof.
look up to. I felt like I had no one to lean on. I felt like no one understood where I was at and the position I was in. I felt like this disgusting version of a human being.
Oof.
And you look at, and I love so many self-help speakers. I absolutely love them. But when I would look at them, I would be like, I wish I could be like you, but I'm not. I'm here. I'm at rock bottom. I'm not perfect. And you guys are perfect. And you know, I love that a lot of self-help speakers are starting to talk about their personal lives more, but 10 years ago, you weren't really getting
Mm.
that. And so I remember just being from childhood all the way into my 20s and just feeling so alone and wishing that I had just someone who was like, "Hey, I'm flawed, but I've grown at least," and to be like, it's okay to be at rock bottom and you can get out
Right.
and you can find happiness. Because I remember even at the age of like 23, 24, thinking to myself, God, happiness is a lie. It's all a lie. People say that to give you false hope because
Ooh.
in the end, your life's just going to remain miserable and awful and there's no point in life. That's the
Ooh.
mindset I had, but I didn't want to
That
feel
was
that.
so dark.
Well, I was very dark, very, very, I was like absolute rock bottom.
Mm.
And so when I pulled myself out of rock bottom and I realized you can find happiness, you can find peace, you can become the person that you want to become.
Mm.
I wanted to become that person for my younger self. I wanted to be that for other people. I wanted to be that, the self-help speaker, the one who's like, it's okay to be dark. It's
Right.
okay to hate your life. It's okay to be ashamed of who you are because you can grow
Mm.
and it'll get better. And I know you're hopeless right now, but there is hope in the future. But I'll sit
Ooh.
in darkness with you.
Wow, I love that. That's so powerful. Before we push forward, I'm so, it's so powerful. The story that you shared. Um, what happened that gave you this awakening that yes, there is, there's joy. Yes, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Yes, there's hope. Where did that come from? Coming from a super dark version of yourself.
So it actually, okay, this is going to get even darker. You might at it
All right.
really.
Okay.
Is it okay to get real dark?
Oh yeah, we're just gonna lose all the sponsors, but why not? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yes, this is your show, my friend. This is your show.
So I remember in my mid 20s, I struggled with attempted suicide back in my
Oof.
younger years, starting at the earliest age. I think I was 8 when I first started thinking about it, and I was 9 or 10. I think it was 9 when I first attempted. So I had
Oof.
just a couple attempts, but I remember around the age like 23, 24-ish, I was sitting in my bathroom just crying, and I was like, you have a choice. Kill yourself or make your life better. Those are your
Mm.
two options. And I was very tempted to just end it. I was very tempted to be like, I'm done. I'm done struggling. I had CPTSD from an extremely
Oof.
abusive
Yeah.
relationship with someone who tried to kill me.
Mm.
And I had nightmares every night. I was so low. And I decided, I was like, I don't have much fight left,
Mm.
but I'm going to do it. I'm going to give myself one last fight. And if I can't win this fight, I'll kill myself. But if I can,
Whoa.
I will become the person that I always wanted to become.
Whoa.
So
And
that's
you
how I
were
did it.
not you were not lying when you said that it is dark. So
It is. It's
wow.
very dark.
Wow.
That's
But
why I make the videos.
it's amazing because even though you were in a very dark situation, you were having options, like it's the good and the bad, the
Mhm.
darkness and the lightness. It's still battling in your mind and in your heart. And what's great with that story is, even though whatever, I don't know, we don't know, whatever pain you were feeling at that moment, you decided to go and push forward and get that light. And look at you now. You are touching, people. You're giving light. You're helping them. You're changing them for them to achieve success and change their lives forever. You're making an impact. So that is something that I'm having goosebumps, my friend, because at a young age, and what I'm losing words, because what would have happened if you choose otherwise, right? So it it's powerful. It's a blessing now to be in the presence, sharing this episode with you. I never knew that, but now that you shared that, I feel the love. I feel that you are. It's not that I feel, I know that you're here to make a difference in the world. The world needs people like you, Angelica. See, Angelica, it's still
You
registering
got
in my
it.
mind. Yeah.
You're good.
I was about to say Angelica. I was like, no, buy me sometime. Buy me sometime. No, Angelica,
I
it's
know.
amazing. I love you. I love the message. More than respect, I admire the fighting spirit in you at that young age. Very dark, but you choose to embrace in the light. And look at you now. You're really sharing positivity, hope, faith, love. Wow.
Thank you. Oh, I
Wow.
just wanted to become the person I needed. And I'm very thankful that I now have the ability to be that person. And I
Mm,
can look back, and I was actually, I'm writing a book right
mm.
now. The I Wish I Would Have Known book is all the things that I wish I would have known when I
Ooh.
was going through rock bottom. And there's this one section where I just say thank you for fighting for
Ooh. Oof.
because that's, had I given up, had I stopped fighting for me, I wouldn't be standing in front of you. I had a plan. I already knew what I was going to do and how I was going to do it.
Really?
And so, oh yeah, it was one of those things where I wasn't playing. I had my two choices. I knew what I was going to do, and I was going to go through with it if I chose the other one. And I chose me. I chose to
Wow.
fight for me. And
Wow.
so when I do these videos,
Mm.
I really do come from a place where I'm talking to my younger self.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm trying to encourage my younger self, knowing that there are people out there that are in the place where I was, that are
Mm.
looking at these two options, or that are going through heartbreak, or that are going through a rough relationship, or that
Mm.
are just struggling in life and need just a little hope. And I want to be that person to be like, hey, I was there.
Mm.
I have literally, from one of my attempts, and luckily most of the scars have healed, but I have scars still on the upper
Wow.
part of my arm where I took a blade and I just closed my eyes and I just started going at it. And
Funny, we
like I
both have tattoos, but while you were saying like blade cuts, I was like, ooh, that's painful. Ooh, ugh, ooh.
Yeah. Well, I was I think 16 or 17 when I did that.
Damn.
So I do know I am that person. And I used to be ashamed of my scars. I would try to cover them up, and it's winter, so they're covered anyways. But I would cover them up because I wouldn't want someone to be like, oh, you're mentally unstable and make all these judgments about me. And, having CPTSD, struggling with
Yeah.
depression, anxiety, that's just, it's one of those things where I felt like they would look down on me.
Mm.
And it's like I didn't want that. So I was ashamed. I don't cover it. And now I'm like, yeah, this is what I did to myself. But
Mm.
look at me now. Look at how far I came. And if you're in that place, you can do it too.
Ooh, there you have it, guys. Mic drop. We're done. That's it. That's it. That's all we need to to change the game. And I love that you said there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there in the whole wide world who are in that same situation, probably worse, right? Because you have two options. Who knows, maybe they don't have any options, and they're in that position already and doing that thing, to give up. But now you are sharing content that could, give them a glimpse of light that could change their journey forever. Wow. Angelica, now that you mentioned that, your transition towards, having this positive mindset outlook in life, where did the relationship, because you are a certified relationship and life coach, how did that became your career, and how did that became your world, creating content, coaching people? Because guys, for all the listeners and viewers out there, Angelica here also coaches people for relationships, life, mindset, and positivity. So can you give us an overview about that?
Well, I started with, lots and lots of studying, and then I got my certification as a life coach, then
Mm,
as a master life coach after that. And I just kept moving forward. But while I was like learning about myself, I was becoming the person I wanted to become. So I was doing a lot of
ooh,
book reading and listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos and listening to TED Talks and going to therapy and really, really dedicating my life to growth. Because I mean, what other option did I have? The other option was, not a good one. Um, but but that's what I was doing. That's how I kind of started building it. And I did it here and there, but things really took off for me. And I did have the business started in 2015, and I was writing books and stuff like
mm,
that. But things really started taking off for me in 2020. And that's when my platform started taking off. And what I was
right.
doing then is, yeah, I was actually a manager of a law firm at the time, while also
Wow.
kind of coaching at the side. And so, but when things started taking off, that's when I ended up, it grew so much that I was like, okay, I can't do a
Yeah.
firm job. I have to, life
Yeah.
coaching, relationship coaching. And that's when I got my certification in relationship coaching. Because I was already doing life. But um, whenever it came to that, I didn't expect my platform to take off the way that it was. And my platform at that point, it was just Instagram. And I would go into nature, I would
You
take
have
photos.
massive Instagram following, guys. As of now, when we recorded this video, she, Angelica on Instagram, 1,000 plus followers. That's amazing.
Thank you. Well, I actually started with just taking photos because I love nature and I think it's beautiful.
Mm,
And I would write little messages of hope under the
mm.
photos. And I would do it because I would hope that someone who was in my position in the past would see that. And then whenever
Ooh.
TikTok started getting big, I was like, you know what? Let me make some videos on TikTok to put on my Instagram.
Mm.
And things kind of blew up from there. And I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what? I didn't even react. I was like, oh my God, this is a lot. I then, shortly after that, I put out my first book called The Asshole Pandemic. It's well, the second book, actually. The first one was
Mm,
Punished Through Evil. The second one was The Asshole Pandemic. And that one in particular was a self-help book, whereas the other
right.
one was fantasy. Um, but with that, I wanted to help people who were struggling with toxic relationships because I had a history of abuse. And I was like,
Ooh,
well,
yeah.
as someone who has a history of abuse, who kept getting in so many toxic relationships before finally figuring out what healthy looked like, um,
Nice.
I wanted to write a book to be like, here you go. I've done it. I've been there. Here's a book. Here's how I got
Right.
out of it.
Love that. Love that. And, I'm excited to get a copy as well. So, it's again, another tool to share light and, help people in their journey towards success. I love that. Now, Angelica, I'm excited. I viewers are excited to know, tips and mindset from an expert like you in this particular topic, which is your expertise. You mentioned about relationship, you mentioned about life, you mentioned about toxic and unhealthy relationship in the past that you encountered and you experienced. So, the topic that I am excited, I know our listeners and viewers are excited to know is how to fix a toxic relationship. But before that, what is a toxic relationship? We hear this all the time in film, in video, in social media. This is a
Yeah.
toxic relationship. He's a toxic partner. What is a toxic relationship?
Well, I first of all want to be very clear that a toxic relationship is different from an abusive relationship. Very different. An abuser
Yes.
doesn't change. You can have
Ooh.
abusive habits and not be an abuser, but an abuser does not change. So, with that being said, if you're in an abusive relationship and that person is actually an abuser, well, that's something that you want to consider. Is this the kind of relationship that you want to be in? And if not, considering other options, such as
Mm,
leaving.
yeah.
If it's a
Wow.
toxic relationship, then we need to look at, okay, we all have toxic habits. Every single one of us have toxic habits. And I always say that there's different levels of toxic, right?
Mm,
The first level is the kind of toxic person that they point to everyone else. They don't ever want to change because they're just blaming everyone else because it's easier. That's not someone that's going to change, right? That's someone that's just like really intense on pointing fingers.
you know
Um,
what, Angelica, while you're explaining that, I'm reviewing, friends, past relationships, like, okay, this one. No, I'm just kidding.
we all know people like that, and those are the kind of relationships you got to set boundaries with,
Mm,
whether it be like a parent or a friend or a lover. You got to set boundaries,
yes.
even if that means taking a step back, because the
Mm.
reality is they're not self-reflecting and they're not willing to change. The
Oof.
second level of toxic is where that person recognizes the need to change, right? But they aren't really putting in the work. So they'll be like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm like a monster. I did bad. I know I shouldn't do that. They're beating themselves up over it, but they don't put in the work. They don't
Why?
put in the work.
Why don't they change, even though they know what they need to do?
It really depends on the person.
All
Like
right.
everyone
Okay.
has a different reason to why they don't
Mm.
want to change. But I think some people, they don't want to change because change is scary. Other
Yes.
people
Yes.
feel like they're giving up a part of themselves, even though
Yeah.
it's not a part of themselves. It's a toxic habit that forms, which is really different. But they've been in this habit for so long that it feels like a part of themselves. And if they
Mm.
stop doing it, then they're giving that up. Other
Mm.
people, it means that they have to dive into childhood wounds and see a therapist and really get into the nitty
Yeah.
gritty.
That's
Oh,
how deep that it's tangled in their life and in their
yeah.
identity, right?
Yeah, and that's hard.
Yeah, that's
That's
hard.
scary.
Mm.
I remember when I was going to therapy, there were times I felt like I was going crazy. I was like, "Oh my god, I feel like I'm going worse." Like, you're trying to get healthier, but you're like, "Oh, that was so messed up," and you don't realize how messed up it was until you
Right.
talk to the therapist, and the therapist is like, "Oh, that was bad." And we're like, "What do you? Oh, no," you know? You come up with all these realizations, yeah, you kind of go back. It feels like a
Mm,
little bit into rock bottom before you start feeling better, but you have to
mm.
feel worse to feel better. And that sucks. Working on yourself, we make it like we're dancing in a field of daisies, but it freaking sucks. I think that's why a lot of people are like, I know I got to put in the work. It's kind of like needing to work out,
Yeah.
but not actually doing it because you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Love
you know,
that. Love
they're
that.
cool about it. I'm not one of those people where I'm like, oh, I have to ride the bike, and then I'm like, begrudgingly riding the bike the whole time.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
self work is painful. It's
Mm.
looking at the ugly parts of yourself and being like, oh, I should work on that. And then actually breaking those habits is really difficult because they're habits that you've been doing for so many years.
Yes. Yes. For so many years. That's, that's you. That's the identity, right?
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
it's not, it's a part of a habit that you formed. It's not who you are at the core. Who you
Yeah.
are at the core is a good person. But the
Yes.
problem is when we have these toxic habits, what ends up happening is that's like the icing that you coat a cake with. You are the cake,
Ooh.
but that's the
Mm.
icing. You got to scrape off that icing and change up the flavor, but that doesn't mean the cake changes.
Right. Wow. Wow, Angelica. That's a perfect visual example. Wow. I love that. That's a clip there for, for social media that we can use. I love that. I love that. Well, Angelica, you mentioned that, um yes, there's different toxic relationship, toxic person. There's one, there's two, there's three, there's levels.
Mhm.
But the good thing is it's something that we can fix, right? It's something that we can adjust and change for a healthy and positive relationship, may it be friends, family, or a lover, partner. So how can we fix a toxic relationship given that both partners agreed that yes, maybe the other half is toxic and they agreed and they want to put in the work. How then can we fix a toxic relationship?
Well, that's where it would take someone who's at level 3 or 4 of toxicity. Level
Oof.
3 is someone who recognizes the work that they need to put in and starts to do the work. You're going to mess up. You're going to struggle a lot. You're going to still have a lot of toxic habits. Level
Mm.
4 is someone who's already put in the work, but we all have toxic habits still, like every single one of us, because life is hard. It's just a matter of they're further ahead on the working journey. So you would have to
Mm.
be at level 3 or level 4 of where you're at in your life. And these are just levels I've made up. Like this is not like an official thing. It's literally like when I
Well, it
first
is
met.
now.
Yeah, it is now. It's
we
like
we
when
are we are using it now from you, so yes, it is official, guys.
but what it takes is both people. A toxic
Mm.
relationship can't be fixed if only one person's putting in the work. That's like riding a bike with only one wheel working. You're just going to end up going in circles. It's not going to work. And
I love your visual example. It's just I can really see it. I was like, damn, she's right.
I'm a visual person. I have a creative mind,
Yeah.
so I'm always making visual things like analogies and stuff. But
Yeah.
it does require that both people are putting in the work and
Mm.
recognizing where they're going wrong. And it also requires that we don't look at our partner as the enemy. That's a huge
Yes.
problem. We are looking at our partner like it's me against you. You are the problem. You are hurting me instead
Mm.
of this is the problem. Let's
Mm.
work on this together. Should I hold you accountable? What steps are you
Right.
going to be taking to hold yourself accountable? How can we work on improving this habit
Oof.
together? But then also showing grace,
Yes.
because
Ooh.
if you're like, this is a toxic habit, I need it to be solved, and you expect perfection, like you're going to be
Right.
disappointed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. That's just not. But understanding that growth is kind of like, like a mountain where it's like you're taking steps ahead, but there's some top parts of the mountain that are going to go
Mm.
down where you're going to end up messing up. You're going to do it again. You're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this
Wow.
again. You're going to feel frustrated with yourself, but you're still taking steps forward. You're still
Mm.
working on yourself. And if it's something that keeps on happening where you're like, why do I keep on doing this? Talk to a therapist. Talk to a therapist about why you keep doing it. Maybe there's something like in your childhood that's causing you to repeat this action. Maybe
Mm.
it's a habit that needs to be broken. And in that case, if it's habits that need to be broken, a coach is great for that, to help just set goals and stuff like that and help you move forward. But in
Wow.
the end, you need to do a lot of introspection and figure out what is the cause of this? What is the root of it?
Yes.
So imagine, I'm going to do another visual example. Imagine it's like a seed of
Mm,
poison that keeps sprouting roots and spreading out into this plant. You cut off the top of the plant and
right.
it keeps sprouting up, and you cut it off again, and it keeps sprouting up. And you're like, why does this keep sprouting up? Well, it's because you got to get to the root. And that's where a
Ooh.
therapist comes in. The therapist dives down, figures out the root with you, and then it's up to you to heal. But then you're like, oh, that's the root. And that can help
Mm.
pull out the root so it no longer causes the problem.
Kaboom. Another, that's a valuable tip again, guys. Mic drop. Again, we're done. It's a masterclass. This is not a podcast episode. This is Angelica's masterclass. Wow. Wow. Angelica, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, your story itself is a learning content. I've learned a lot. I felt your heart and your desire, your positivity, and then when you talk about, simply giving us complex perspective, but it came out really easy to understand, really easy to digest, and I know our listeners and viewers now are excited. Like what you've said, it's not gonna happen in an instant. Things like this, it starts with a mindset that you need to do the work. Then the both parties need to be in an agreement that, hey, if you want to fix things, we need to help each other. It's not going to be easy. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a movie. We will need to trust. And I love what you said, grace. We will fall, but we need to get back in the game, stand up, continue helping each other. And again, failure will come, but we need to learn and help each other. Grace is there, love is there, light is there, and hope is there. Wow. See, all of those I got from listening to you. How much more, guys, if you connect with Angelica, I'm sure your lives will, it will be different. It will change. So guys, please do connect with Angelica. Damn it, Angelica.
I know who you're talking to. They know who you're talking to. We're good. I did want, when you said something, it occurred to me that I wanted to just bring this out.
Mm.
So many of us base what we think love should look like on the movies.
Oh
It's
yeah.
what a relationship looks like the movies. Think of it. You have a couple, right? Normally they're together, and then either the male or the man or the woman,
Mm.
whoever it is, person, we'll say person to keep
Yeah.
it gender neutral, um, they end up seeing another person and falls in love with that person and leaves their partner of so many years
Yeah.
because they're having problems
Mm.
for this fling. And then there's this like blow up, toxic blow up at the very end where it's
Mm.
like that person ends up cheating on
Mm.
the other person and then maybe shows up with like a plant at an airport. And it's like, okay, first of all, you broke the foundation with betrayal. You cheated on your partner with this other person in the first place. So we're seeing a pattern of cheating.
Right.
We're almost like glorifying this, making it into some sweet romantic, oh, and then they cut it off right when the love bombing begins.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not happily ever after. You can't
Mm.
show 50 years down the road because that's a history of cheating that just happened in
Right.
those years.
I love that you mentioned that. Nothing against pop culture and movies, especially now. There's a lot of independent movies, very liberated. I'm not a traditionalist, but I love what you said that in a way it's being glorified. That is sending a wrong message. Again, it's I'm not an expert in this types of situation, but banking on people when they consume content like this, it goes beyond human logic and straight to human emotions, and when that happens, their judgment gets it influenced their judgment, it influenced the way they make decisions, and they think things like these are normal. Like, okay, we're having an argument. I don't like you anymore because I found someone. That's the
Mhm.
easy way out. Again, case to case basis. I know a lot of situations like that are happening, but but these are movies. They're sending the wrong message that okay, you can easily give up, go, and then somewhere down the road, like how many years will pass, you guys will meet, and then ta-da, you can jump back and live happily ever after. It's weird.
I love how you worded that. It's weird.
It's weird. I mean, come on. I mean, if you really, again, going back to how you explain things, grace, love, that's where the authenticity comes into play. If you really love the person and you have grace and you understand what it needs to be done, help each other. And, that's how you grow. Again, it's not easy. It will be painful, and it takes two to tango. So it's a journey.
Yeah. But I do think that it's important to also say that there's a difference between showing someone grace because you have empathy for them and excusing a toxic habit that hasn't been worked on. So
Ooh.
if you're showing someone grace and you're like, "Oh, it's a mountain, right? A mountain of progress," but it's not actually a mountain of progress. They're doing love bombing and then they go right
Mm,
back into that toxic habit and they love bomb again and right back into the toxic habit. That's a cycle. That's when your empathy becomes a weapon against you.
mm,
And so it's important to really take a step back. If you're struggling right now, if any of the listeners are struggling with a toxic relationship where they're like, is this person working on themselves? And are they making continuous progress, but also kind of messing up sometimes, but still progressing? Now, I'm not saying messing up as in like cheating repeatedly.
right.
That's different. I'm not saying messing up like physically abusing or doing anything of that nature where it's like abuse. That's different. What
Mm,
I'm talking about is toxic habits that they are working through. Now, if they are actively working through, and not only when you're about to leave, I'm talking about in the relationship,
right.
because if you're doing it only when you're about to leave and
Mm,
they're only working on it when you're gone, and then when
mm.
you come back, they go right back into their toxic habits. Well, they were manipulating you into coming
Ooh.
back by working through, acting like they're working through their stuff. But if someone is literally, you're in the relationship, maybe they're yelling at you, they raise their voice and they yell
Yeah.
at you. As a child, they weren't heard, so they learned the only way to be heard is through yelling. And
Yes.
so now as an adult, that's what they're doing. And they're like, I can't do this. And they like screaming and then they storm off and you're like, oh, and you're ready to pull off the earrings, that's different where they're like, maybe they have a moment where they do
Mm,
that. But like the last 5 times they haven't, and then because they've been able to control it, then this time they had a really hard day, they blew up again,
mm,
but then the next 5 times they were good again. Well, that's
mm.
progress. That's not a cycle. That's working through things. That's progressively improving. So, like I said, to any viewer out there, I want you to take a step back and I want you to ask yourself, is this a cycle? Or is this continuous progress where this person is just human and they're kind of messing up, but they're still working towards improving?
Wow. Again. Again with that knowledge bomb after knowledge bomb. Valuable tip from Angelica. Amazing, amazing. I'm sure our listeners and viewers are energized, equipped to really continue their journey towards a brighter and successful life. Thank you so much, Angelica, for sharing your story, giving us your expertise, your mindset. Thank you. It is such a blessing to have you in the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But we're not done yet, my dear. We are not done yet. We started off you sharing your story, giving us value. Now is the time that we will play a game. It's called the Creative Fast Talk. It's a tradition here in the show. We play a game with all the guests, okay?
Okay.
So how we play the game is I'm going to be asking you questions and you are not allowed to spend much time thinking what the right answer would be. First word
Mhm.
that comes into your mind, boom, shoot. And you need to be 100% honest.
Okay. Oh, I have ADHD, so my mother says I have diarrhea of the mouth. So I'm about to start.
Don't worry. Questions are good, clean, fun. No naughty. No, no abusive. It's all good, clean, fun. Like
Good.
Jan the man.
Love that. Love that.
Are you
I am ready.
all right? Question number one: sun or snow?
Ooh, snow.
Oh, you like the cold, huh?
I do. Oh my
Right,
God, the color's
right.
amazing. You walk out there, there's so much snow. I just hate it whenever it kind of looks like the gray sludgy, but
Oh
oh my,
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Next,
okay.
the beaches or the mountains?
Ooh, mountains. Definitely mountains.
Wow. Okay. What is something that is always inside your bag when you were a kid?
Pepto Bismol. I knew this.
Ah, ah,
Oh God.
crazy.
I mean, you
Okay.
said this, I'll give it to you.
Next. What
Mm.
is the weirdest food you've tried so far?
I mean, it wasn't really weird, but it's a tie between alligator. That wasn't that bad. Or was it crocodile? I can't remember. Ostrich was really good, but I
Oh yeah.
really the it was like intestines stuffed with blood pudding.
Oh, I think I tried that. Yeah, I think I may be wrong, but yeah. How was the taste though?
It was really good. It was with pineapple. I also ate ground up organs whenever I was in Scotland. But I
Wow.
didn't know. In my defense, I did not know
All
that.
right.
It just had
Okay.
meat and
Okay.
potatoes, and I was like,
Are you
I
sure you're not a vampire, Angelica?
no. I don't even eat meat when I'm in the United States. So it's
Oh
really
yeah. Okay. Okay. Next, dinner and dancing or popcorn and movies.
dinner and dancing. But like
Wow.
not at a club, watching other people dance.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
a
All
ballet or
right.
something.
How about ballroom or like um
Yeah.
yeah, like
I got
those
2 left.
Latinos salsa thing.
That's fun.
I
That's
yeah. I share the same desire as well. Although I can't
awesome.
dance. I love the music though. Perez Prado, things like that, Spanish, Latino music. I'm gonna tag you some reels about that. So
Yeah, I
okay.
would love that.
Next, what is your favorite color and why?
Ooh, blue green. I don't know why.
Why?
I just think it's pretty. I have no idea why.
Okay.
I've always been like, that's beautiful.
Right, right. Okay, okay. If you were an animal, Angelica, what animal would you be and why?
A great white shark because it scares the shit crap out of me. I've got a potty mouth.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, okay. Love that. Great white shark. All right, all right. I love you, Angelica. I so love you. I lost my. What's my? Okay. What is your dream superpower and why?
Ooh, dream superpower. Becoming invisible because I'm really nosy and I'd like to snoop in on conversations so I could go to restaurants and I could just like stare at people and watch the
Ah, ah.
probably. Give me all spill the beans. Let me hear it.
All
Weird.
right. Next question, Angelica. What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? Great white sharks. I'm so scared of them. I can't go into the ocean, period.
Angelica, this is the first episode that I experienced with this craziest answers. I mean, so far,
Good.
it's
That
well,
helps.
it's concise and cohesive. Great white shark hashtag. Okay, for everyone out there, listeners and viewers out there, when when you do share this episode when we released it, hashtag great white shark.
Tag me in the videos of great white sharks so I
Yeah,
can be amazed and also very afraid at the same time.
it's gonna be weird, Angelica, because this episode would be, because of the hashtag, it will be combined with all the Animal Planet and an animal show with sharks and everything. And there were people like, what the heck is this episode doing here?
But the listeners will know. They will know. Yeah, that's why.
Right. All right. Okay. Okay. This last question can be something serious depending on how you take it. All right.
Let's see.
If you have the power to bring back someone back from the dead, who would it be and why? Anybody. It doesn't need to be relative. Anybody in the whole wide world.
Oh, anybody in Stephen Hawking.
Ooh, yes, yeah.
Oh, he was amazing. Brilliant mind.
Mm.
Brilliant mind.
Okay,
He
follow up question. Follow up question.
follow up. Okay.
Yeah, so you have the power. You bring back Steven in the world of the living.
Yeah.
Now you and Steven is in the coffee shop
Yeah.
with me. I'm ordering coffee for you or tea.
Okay.
What would you ask him now that he's alive? One question.
Help me understand. Oh, it's not really a question. It kind of is a question. Help me understand the theory of time because I
Ah.
don't understand it. Like, I read his book,
Mm.
right? And I was reading the section on time, and I'm like, am I dumb? Because I do not understand this. What do you mean that time stops in a black hole? Is it time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it's so confusing. So I'm like, I'm gonna need you to just dumb this down for me and help me to understand
Love
what
that.
it is.
Nice, nice. It is amazing, guys, to have Angelica here as our special guest, sharing her story, giving us valuable tips, and sharing Great White Shark, and the official hashtag is Great White Shark. Having fun with us in this game. Thank you so much, Angelica. I am amazed. It is again a blessing. I so love you. I so love your message and the things that you are doing to make this world a better place to live in. Thank you. I know you have social medias, events, releases, projects, anything that you want to promote. Feel free. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. As far as I can actually say I'm not sure when this podcast is going to air, but November 13th, I'm going to be releasing my ebook for free.
Ooh.
It's technically already released, but the Asshole Pandemic I'm going to make for free for 5 days. The ebook version internationally, just as saying thank you for being here. Thank you for looking at my stuff and listening, and I want to give back to my followers and my listeners. So it's just going to be for 5 days, but if it ends up airing before then, that's what I'm doing. As far as other promotions, I'll probably be starting a podcast soon. I'm kind of like playing with ideas. Everything's always under Nerdy Traveling Writer, whether it be my YouTube channel, which has longer videos on different things like advice and all of that. I have my TikTok channel, my Instagram handle, and when I do eventually put out a podcast, which might actually be in the next month or so, it'll all be under Nerdy Traveling Writer.
Yay! We are here to support you. Guys, please do connect with Angelica. I'm sure she can help you in your journey towards success. Special thanks to our official media partner, wheninmanila.com, for publishing and sponsoring our episode and our podcast. Thank you so much. Everyone, always remember, have a positive outlook in life. Smile and God bless you. Bye!
Bye.